Hey guys, so today I decided to do a mukbang. First of all, don't laugh at me. Do not laugh at me. I already know this look crazy. I already know. First and foremost, I don't have a place for me to eat and you guys can see, so I had to make this contraption. I have one of my storage bins on the floor, but look at me. I put a little tablecloth. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I put a tablecloth on the bin, and then I'm sitting on a shoebox. So, look, okay, we had to make it happen. I turned my truck off for y'all. It's hot out here. I'm in Georgia right now. But today I decided to do a mukbang because I'm also going to be answering questions about, about trucking school. I've been receiving questions about truck driving school. So I've already done sit down videos where I talk to you guys, and I'm sure you guys are probably tired of that. So I decided, since I'm hungry, I'm ready to go to bed. Before I, eat and knock out, I decided to actually record it. So I'm gonna eat. I don't know if that's going to make a difference for you guys, but here we go. I also want you guys to know that I am not a chef, right? But I think I might have tore this vegetable soup up. I made fresh vegetable soup from scratch. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna probably insert a picture, but it looks bomb. However, I don't know if it will taste the way that it looks because I've never done it before, and if I could make an educated guess, I think it might be a little bland. We'll see. Also, if it looks a little smoky in here, it's because I was burning up this cornbread. But listen, like I said, I'm in the truck, so I don't have an oven. So I made cornbread pancakes, which I ain't never did that before. So it's a little burnt. Please don't laugh. Don't judge, okay? Don't judge with my pancakes. But here, we about to try it out, and I'm gonna answer these questions for you guys. Oh, and I have my sparkling ice. I love the sparkling ice, and I'm going to drink it with a straw. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. I'm hungry, y'all. Oh my goodness. Ooh. See, because last time I caught myself opening this up and it sprayed everywhere. That was messed up. Let's see. I never had this kind before. This is peach nectarine. Let me see. This is fire. Peach nectar. Peach nectarine is good. Hold on. But all right, I'm about to taste this soup before I start answering these questions, just because I want to make sure it's good. Oh, I have all types of stuff in this soup. I have carrots, I have zucchini, I have broccoli, I have black beans, I have tomatoes, cabbage, okra, all types of stuff. I mean, I threw in the garden. If you guys want me to make a video, I'll do so, but I didn't record it this time because I was tired and I never made this before. So let's see how it tastes. I got some tomatoes in here and everything. Let's see. Oh, I'm hoping it tastes good. Let me see. It's hot too. Oh! No, I didn't outdo Campbell's. On my first try in a truck. I did this. Hold on. Get out of here! I tore this up! Oh, okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. I'm not even normally this excited about stuff like this, but I just knew this was gonna taste funny. It ain't even smell right to me at first, you know, but it's probably because of all them vegetables. But this is bomb. I actually tore this up. Tell me if y'all want a video, because I think that I did that with this. Hold on. Yep. Okay, let's get into this video. So one of the questions, and I actually have like 10 questions actually. So question number one is, how long did trucking school take? Trucking school took about a month. But I was actually, it took like 3.5 weeks, right? But I went through a nonprofit organization, and they had us in there for about like a month too, actually. So we were in a nonprofit organization taking classes that had nothing to do with the trucking school, but since they paid for my schooling, it was sort of just I guess they was like, since we paying for it, you might as well take this class. So that's what happened. That ain't bad neither. But overall, it was like a month, excluding my nonprofit organization. Question number 2 is, how did you prepare for schooling? How do I answer that question? How did I prepare for schooling? Well, okay, I guess I'll talk about it from a financial standpoint. Number 1, I saved my money. Because I didn't want to try to juggle a job and schooling, so I did quit. I quit my job and I saved my money. It's a long story, but I would suggest you save money if you're going to go into trucking. There's no reason why you shouldn't have saved before you went into this schooling. Even if you have a job, because honestly, you'll have to probably take off some hours at your job just to make it at the school every day. So yeah, that's how I prepared for trucking school. If you're talking about mentally, I was prepared way before I started. Question number 3 is, how much was trucking school? So I didn't pay for my trucking school. I went through, like I said, a nonprofit organization. If anybody is familiar with Focus Hope in Michigan, that's where I went to. If you don't go through Focus Hope, you could go through Michigan Works. And that's just because I couldn't afford it. Normally, it would cost like, I heard it can get up to like $14,000. But I believe that the school I went to was only like $6,000. But still, at that time, that wasn't coming out of my pockets. So question number 4 is, was truck driving school difficult? Was it difficult? I don't know. Let me be honest and say not really. The reason why I say not really is because, you know, you sort of have an idea of what you're going to encounter when you get there. And I can honestly say that I expected it to be a lot worse than what it was. A lot of people explained it like it was like an army or something. Like, I thought it was going to be gruesome. I thought nobody was going to care about little old me. I thought I was going to be out there in the trenches for real. So I was mentally prepared for that. I was expecting, like, for me to be out there in the pouring rain and the blazing sun. And we were, but you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking boot camp style. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I can honestly say that I actually enjoyed it. There's oftentimes I think back and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't mind going back. So it wasn't that hard at all. It was actually more tedious than it was hard because you had like tests and you had to remember the pre-trip and things like that. But as long as you're on top of your game, it shouldn't be that difficult. Question number 5 is, was there other women too besides you? And yes, there were. I don't know what it is about people not thinking that women drive trucks, because I've always seen women in a truck. Maybe it's because I'm sort of checking for women to be in the truck, you know, because I'm a female. But excuse me, but no, there was probably like 5 other women outside of me in that class. There were more men, but you know, it didn't seem like odd that there were women in there. Question number 6 is, was your class schedule flexible? And to be honest, no. It wasn't flexible at all. Generally, we got there at 8 in the morning and we left at 5. We would probably end up leaving, like, I think at the most we left at an hour early, which isn't bad at all. But no, it wasn't flexible. You had the same schedule every day for the time that you were there, and it was Monday through Friday. So if there was anybody who had a job, especially if it was full-time, I don't see how you could have made it to your job and to school every day throughout the week until you graduated. I am spilling crumbs everywhere. I gotta clean up anyway, so I'm not even really tripping. Question number 7 is, did you get hired in immediately at your job after school? And yeah, I did. I actually did. They came in and recruited people. However, I didn't go in because I was recruited. I went in because I knew somebody who was in the company before I applied. So yeah, but the hiring process is fairly like simple. A lot of these truck companies, they want people, so they be out here. They be out here searching for people and coming into trucking schools with food. Man, we used to be waiting on either it was sandwiches that the trucking companies came in with, or pizza. They were like notorious for pizza, or like I think one time it was burgers. It was something like that, or maybe I'm thinking about the sandwiches. But yeah, they always came in with food. They were always trying to recruit people. But you gotta weed through the bad companies, because some of them bad companies came in there trying to sweeten the deal. But the people in my class was chewing them up. They were asking questions and they were like, what do you mean you only get paid $150 a day? You know, things like that. And sometimes people would, like the people that would be making the presentations for their company, they would freeze and sort of be like, well, you know, because you know that they're selling their company, but their company is sort of trash. So you got to be able to read through those recruiting companies. But the company that I went to, the real reason why I went is because I knew somebody in there. Question number 8 is, how many tests did you take and were they hard? I don't know. Let me think. Okay. I'm trying not to count Focus Hope, because Focus Hope had you taking tests too. I took so many tests before I got here, so let me think. Okay, so the first week we had to take our permit test so that we can go out on the road. So that's number 1, which there were actually 3 tests that we had to take that was mandatory. So I would say that's 3, and that was all at the Secretary of State. Then What was the next test? Oh, every week we had to take a pre-trip test. Or was it every day? I think it was every day. Was it every day? Why can I not remember? I'm going to go ahead and say every day. It was every day. Yep, because if you missed a day, you have to take 2 tests. So, then that means there's too many tests to count. But this was just from my school. I don't know if all schools had you take a test every day. But after I took all of those tests, we had to take, obviously, your CDL Class A test. Oh, and no, I think that was it. Yeah, so I would say 7, 14, 21, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Probably 32 tests. And were they hard? The only test that I had to take over was the Secretary of State test. I failed 2 of them the first time and passed 1. And then the second time I went in, I passed the last 2. Excuse me. So, they weren't hard. It was just, you know how tests are. You study for everything and you think you know everything. And then you go and take the test and the questions are different. And it's like, so you sort of got to wing it. That's how it was. If anybody is telling you that the questions at the Secretary of State is the exact same for the ones that you actually study for, they're lying. They're lying 100%. Okay, so question number 9 is, what was the best and worst part about trucking school? I'm gonna start with the worst so I can end off good. I'm gonna say that the worst was I think I'm gonna say the weather. I was in trucking school from like July to August, so I picked the worst months to go into trucking school. It was hot. Now, for those who don't know, in trucking school, you have 1 week. Well, this was my school, so I don't know about everybody else's school. But in trucking school, you have about 1 week where you're in class. And then the last 3 or so weeks, you're on the field, which is this big old dirt field. We had a dusty dirt field where if it was super windy out, dust was like flying in your eyes. I remember they had a wood chip plant next door. And man, I would have sued if my eyes was messed up because of them wood chips. But it was all squinting and dirty. Man, I mean, we would be out there from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m. with the exception of an hour lunch. We would be out there with water bottles, canteens. People had those safari hats on. I had on like gym shorts and t-shirts, and man, it was hot out there. But we actually had it fairly easy because last summer wasn't as bad as the summers like before, but it was still pretty hot. So I would say that the weather was pretty bad, and most times if it was like slight drizzle or rain, we would still be out there. So sometimes it got muddy. Your feet got a little, not your feet, but your shoes got a little like muddy. And that's the worst. But it wasn't like unbearable. If I had to choose, that would be the worst part. But the best part was the people. I didn't go in expecting for me to have a good time, but I can honestly say that the people that we were with, they made it funny for me. I was cracking up like at least once a day. They split us off into groups, and so I was in a group. I was the only female, and there were like maybe four other guys, maybe 4. I think it was 4, and I don't know. It was just funny. We got in funny situations, like people were getting cursed out. Instructors were getting fired. I mean, I don't condone none of that stuff no more. Back then, I wasn't on the journey that I am now, and I can honestly say that I was cracking up. All right, and then number 10 is, what are some tips you can give? So I actually wrote these down. Let me see. So, number 1 is keep a positive mindset. Man, okay, let me explain it this way. There were times where it did get a little frustrating, or sometimes things can get to you, like especially when you're trying to learn a maneuver for the first time. You know, I saw a lot of people, you know, catch attitudes, or they were just frustrated. One woman even like quit. But then there were a lot of people who kept positive mindsets. I try my best to keep a positive mindset throughout it all, because you expect for it to be difficult. It's a big old truck and you're not used to it, right? And so you gotta be a little easier on yourself. It's not nothing that I would say is something worth getting upset about. There were a lot of things that, you know, that could annoy you, like the fact that it was hot outside, it was dirty, or that, you know, you're probably focusing on one maneuver longer than the other people because you're struggling and they aren't, or things like that. But keeping a positive mindset is definitely a way to get past it. I recognize that when I get upset and I start feeling like I'm not doing things right, I start failing for real. Like, that's a true thing. That's really how it be. But when I'm trying to like be patient and tell myself like, hey, we're just gonna try again, and I keep working at it, I get it. It's easier to grasp on to what you were struggling to get. I guess I'll put it that way. Tip number 2, I was actually told this and it worked out really well for me. But when you're not doing a maneuver, because the way it is because you're in a group and there's one truck generally, the group will take turns. And, you know, once it's your turn, you do your maneuver. If you mess up, you mess up. If you don't, you don't. But once you get out, somebody else gets in. I noticed that a lot of times people would just turn their back on that person when they're trying to work on their maneuvers, and they'll probably start conversations with other folks or whatever the case may be. They're not paying attention to that driver who's actually practicing the same maneuver you just probably failed at. I would suggest when it's not your turn, pay attention to the person that's practicing a maneuver after you, because you can see where they messed up or where they did good, and you can take pointers from them. And even if you're doing great, sometimes you can help other people out, like, hey, I see what you did right here. Maybe if you do it this way, you know. But I would use other people's either mistakes or triumphs as a learning process. My last tip is take your permit test early. The way that my school was set up is we had a whole week in the classroom, right? And in the classroom, you were supposed to, it was pretty much like a crash course of everything that you would be tested on for the permit. So, but at the end of that week, if you haven't passed your test, that following week, you'll have to retake that week in class instead of going to the field. So you'll be a week behind from everybody else. And there were a couple people who ended up behind. And I don't know if that's for everybody, but our school, that's what happened. And I remember when I took my the first time I took my test was that Thursday. And when I failed 2 classes, and you know, the Secretary of State, they're only open, you know, throughout the weekday, except some are open Saturday morning. But man, I was freaking out. I'm like, Lord, you know, I was praying. I'm like, Lord, please don't let me fail Friday, because man, who knows if I'll be able to even take a test on Saturday. And the Secretary of State was so crowded. I was there for like 2 hours before I could even take a test. And then I failed. I was like, what the heck? So, if you get a chance, take the test early. Take the test before you even start trucking school. And if you fail, I believe it does cost to take the test. Yep, it does cost to take the test, but we had vouchers, so it was free. But I would study hard before you get in the trucking school, and then I would take the test before everybody else. Even if you fail, the idea is that you know what's on the test, so when you go back, you'll have most of the answers. And sometimes they have like a scramble of questions. So not every question that you took last time you'll take the next time. But 9 times out of 10 you'll get some questions that at first you probably failed, and then the second time you'll know the answer. And also, while you're at it, get all of your endorsements early. It was only mandatory for us to take 3 of our tests, which was combinations. I can't even name them all for you. But the endorsements were elective. You could take them if you wanted to. Because I was on a crunch, I didn't take any more. But I do plan to. But if I took them early, I probably would have taken the I probably would have taken the other endorsements too. Well, alright guys, that was the end of the video. I did finish my soup, but I am not eating all of this cornbread. If you guys have any more questions about trucking school or anything of the matter, definitely leave it down in the comments below. Also, if you guys want the video to me making the vegetable soup or cornbread, I probably wouldn't request the cornbread pancakes from me. But if you want to see it, let me know in the comments below. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. Sorry if I was smacking or whatever. I don't know what it looks like when I eat, so I'm definitely gonna see. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys probably next week. Bye. All right, bye. I was thirsty. Oh, let me get up.